Oh boy, look at that. Just in time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Sunday. Got my man P Rich here.
What's going on?
How you doing, sir? Good to see you.
Good, man. It's just been a kind of a busy week for me. You know, I had a couple jobs and now I'm kind of having a relaxing Sunday. Well, I've been cleaning a little bit, doing some stuff around the house, but other than that, it's been pretty easy.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. Yeah, shoot, man. This is we had a great episode this past Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we did.
Mandalorian.
It was nice, man. I love that. I love that episode, man.
Yeah. No, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great, man. All right. So last week, did you put the Bounty Hunter game in? Was that in your top 5, or that was a game that we talked about? I know we talked about it last week.
I think it was an honorable mention. We talked about the Jango Fett. Yeah, we kind of just, we were talking about how the controls were kind of wonky and things like that. But
yeah,
we didn't really. I don't know if you remember playing it, but I booted it up on a PlayStation 4, and the controls are just so ridiculously just hard. I feel like me trying to that first world, that first map, that first little section you go through is very difficult actually. And it just it's surprising to me, as kids we used to play those games and actually kind of get pretty far, and then I'm as an adult I'm like, am I dumber now?
I can't even remember what the first mission is on that game, but I can imagine, the platforming and the world building that they had was a lot. I can imagine a little bit more complex than what we get now, just because there wasn't any, it was hardly any other features in it. So the maps and the game modes had to be complex to keep people engaged. Now we got multiplayer and 100 million different game modes within a game. Got games within games, and it's craziness.
Yeah, I know. Warzone, it's just I didn't even know. I still haven't even played the game before, the Call of Duty, and it was just people were just oh, Warzone this, and I'm just what is Warzone? I've never played it. I just haven't gotten into it. I've always been on the PUBG train, so I just never really got into the. I know JB, he's always trying to get me to play on that that PUBG, not PUBG, but that Warzone. He's always jump on Warzone. I was like, I don't even have it downloaded. I finally downloaded it now. It's up now, but I still hadn't even launched it yet. Still.
Yeah, man. That's they had Call of Duty has the resources, I'll say, to kind of give us a complete version of PUBG. PUBG was PUBG started. That was what? Wasn't that crowdfunded almost?
It was started as a mod. Yeah. It was a mod at first, and then it got so popular that then they ended up doing kind of early access type of thing where, they brought it over to consoles and stuff. It was strictly PC at first, and then they brought it over to Xbox with early access. And then I know PlayStation is a little bit more kind of they want almost a finished product before they put it on. They don't do that early access stuff oh, we need a finished game. We can't be having that. They don't want to do that testing stuff through PlayStation. Yeah. So and then finally it came over to PlayStation after they were all right, this game's pretty much complete. So
yeah. That's that is there's always that bias to those platforms on those consoles. But that's how they make the money. That's PC is a little different. PC
dude. PC's a whole different. I looking at the Steam store. I just started getting into PC gaming just this year at the beginning of COVID, because I was just okay, well, what else do I got to do? So I just turned on my, I finally set up my because I have a Hackintosh computer, so I run OS and Windows. So I always just use the OS system to play the edit all my stuff on. But then finally I was all right, let me play with this Windows side, and then I got the Game Pass for Xbox on the PC, and then I got the Steam account, and then I just started getting crazy into it. There's games that are on console that are just light years ahead on PC. I was playing 7 Days to Die on PC, and man, this PC version so much better than the console. Like the console is like it compared, like it's just the console is like stuck in the dark ages compared to where PC's at. And I think it's because the people who brought it over to PC or console, like the studio shut down and it just kind of stopped at like this one update or this like a certain update, and it's never been updated past that. But PC is like 45 more updates above that, and I'm like, why won't they update the console?
Like there's a lot of games that are like that. That especially games that start on PC and then move to consoles, like those games usually like so much less than what you get on the PC. Like it's a nice like consolidated version of it, and it kind of is like the essential version of the PC version, but it's not like you're not getting that full experience.
Exactly.
But hey, let's get back to this episode.
For sure.
We had a great conversation in chat Friday after the episode premiered. And I kind of just like, I'm still like high off that episode, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna keep talking and like speculating on that a little bit because that was just a great episode. Like that was such a great introduction for Boba Fett as a character, and well, not an introduction, but like a reintroduction of the character, because so much of the extended universe past Return of the Jedi is where Boba Fett really gains his fame within the fandom. And like, I don't know, how much do you know about the EU Boba Fett and his antics? And
I know quite a I'm gonna say quite a bit, but I know that like he survived the Starlight pit. He like was able to get out because of their digestive system. And they have a slowly, I think what it says, it takes like 1,000 years to digest something or something like that. So he was able to escape the pit. And then he continued, I think a lot of it was hunting Han Solo. Am I not correct? I don't know if he like was, I don't know if he stayed. He didn't stay on Tatooine. He kind of like, in this one, they just kind of been like, he kind of just limped on and was just like, I'm like, almost like he was stranded on Tatooine. Like he just loved Tatooine in the universe. But obviously that was not the case, because we saw that he's been tracking, Mando this entire time,
When they teased him at the end of episode 1, like I was like, oh well, of course. So he got out the Sarlacc pit, and Slave 1, his ship is somewhere on the planet too. So it's like he's there for a reason.
Exactly.
Like he's there. Like he could have left. And I'll say the in the extended universe, Boba Fett does escape from the Sarlacc pit, but Dengar is the one who helps him to escape from the Sarlacc. I think Dengar's in Jabba's palace, and he's looking for Boba Fett. He finds him in the pit. He helps get him out, and then it's for everyone who doesn't know how all of this happens in the extended universe. And then once Boba is out, I believe he goes to I think that's when he returns to Mandalore, and he starts to go back to his Mandalorian roots. I think he bounty hunts for a little bit, but the Empire is pretty much destroyed, so he's got to go back and get his bearings, if you will. Because his main employer was destroyed at the end of Return of the Jedi.
That would give me the opportunity to update.
And then I would
eventually, like, depending on how long you stay,
is that
I would just print that out separately.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So I was like, what? I was like, it almost sounded like me, and I was getting confused. I was like, is that mine? Anyway, he goes back to Mandalore, and he eventually becomes the Mandalore of Mandalore. Like he becomes the leader of Mandalore. And then he does a bunch of other things that he builds his legend, and he becomes are you familiar with the Yuzon Vong War and like some of the other conflicts after Return of the Jedi? he's an integral part in all of that. Like, so people are used to this, like, this, grand legendary character, and we get a glimpse of that finally in this episode, and it was just refreshing to see, like, them paying homage to that character that we know so well from the EU.
So how much do you think actually carried over from the EU to like that we saw, like all the scars on his face and everything? Do you think that was from the Snarlic pit, or do you think that's kind of over the course of him being on Tatooine that it kind of happened?
So he was that is from the Sarlacc pit, and he did sustain some damage from the Sarlacc pit because of the acidic like the acids in the Sarlacc pit's digestive system. But I think overall, like, his arsenal and the way he fights, and like he doesn't have his classic blaster. I forget what it's called. That rifle has got that burst shot. But you've played Battlefront 2. If you Boba Fett, like, it's that rifle. Like, so he didn't have that in this episode, but I'm pretty sure he'll get that back. I think technically Luke cuts that up before he falls into the Sarlacc pit. So
yeah, I think he chopped that in half. Yeah.
Speaking of weapons, like now that the Razor Crest is destroyed, that pulse rifle that Din Djarin uses, that was also in the Razor Crest. That got destroyed. I'm really upset about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just, I think it's completely like his ship getting destroyed. I think that was almost like a character itself, and then we were kind of just mad that actually got taken from us. So.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, that was completely shocking. That took me by surprise. Like, I wasn't anticipating his starship to get destroyed like that.
But that's expected from Moff Gideon, though. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what he's up to.
Absolutely. I'm not mad that it happened. I'm pleasantly surprised that they went that far with the character, like, for them to do that. Like, I'm here for it. Like, I love those types of things happening in the story, because it just, it's good,
I mean, I'm excited to see what's going to happen next, because I was so surprised about what happened with the Dark Troopers.
Yeah,
I was so excited to see those guys, and then I was like, oh my god, we're about to see this huge battle right now. Go throw down these, like, everybody, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Like, I was debating whether or not we would see them in this episode. Like, for me, I knew that the Empire was going to show up in this episode. As soon as they landed on Python, I was like, all right, the Empire is going to show up. I wasn't anticipating Boba Fett to show up, but so that was a pleasant surprise for me. But I still knew the Empire was coming, and I was like, I kind of thought that, when they showed up, like, Moff Gideon was just going to give us Dark Troopers immediately. Like, it was,
like, send them in. He sent them in with those stormtroopers. I was like, those stormtroopers. I was thinking about the idea about how the stormtroopers have, like, the weakest armor ever to anything. You think, like, the Imperials would, like, have the best suited armor, but they just immediately one blaster shot, boom, they're out.
They actually, like, reference that in Rebels in the series, like, because the clone armor is actually stronger and more durable than the stormtrooper armor, and, like, Captain Rex makes a comment about it actually in Rebels, about how, like, I think his first generation, because he always wears his first generation armor, and it's like the strongest of the clone trooper armor, and then is way stronger than the stormtrooper.
I wonder why. It's probably cheaper. They're cutting corners. The Emperor was like, that's too much money. Too much.
That is, and that's what happened. Like, he just wanted a large standing army, and he didn't want to pay, like, the amount of money he was paying for the clones anymore. Like, that, the clone army was super expensive. Like, just in general, it was super expensive.
Exactly. Do they even go back? Do they go back to that planet, the Geonosis, right? And Clone Wars? Yeah. Oh yeah. Jimmy. Yeah.
They do go. So the Dr. Parshing is technically, he's a Kaminoan cloner. The guy who was experimenting on Grogu. The little patch on his arm is like the insignia for the Kaminoan cloners. So it is referenced. It's definitely referenced in this show. they started phasing out the clone troopers like shortly after Revenge of the Sith. And so sorry,
I'm moving outside. Too much going on there.
Oh yeah. It's all good. Yeah, they started phasing out those clone troopers right after Revenge of the Sith. A lot of the because here's the thing, Palpatine, like, he orchestrated the entire conflict, both sides of it, like the droids. So like he was like, I don't need like a highly trained soldiers, like I just need bodies, basically.
Yeah,
like
pretty much. Yeah,
it's like I can overwhelm people. Like they're train them well enough to be able to shoot and you know, but I guess if I have the numbers, we can overwhelm any like resistance force, or so he thought.
So he thought give him that cheap armor to take it out. Like
so like that's just that. I mean, that's just how it was. Like that was the compromise. He's like, I'm gonna just go for, like, he took that the separatist approach where he's just like, I'm gonna just go for numbers, and we're not gonna worry about like
so I don't know, do they ever talk about like what's the mixture of stormtroopers like in versus like, you know, clones that carried over and actual people who enlisted? Because I know they kind of talked about that in like the new Star Wars movies, where in the First Order, where they kind of just, they weren't clones, but they were just like people that they kind of just, you know, conditioned to be, you know, these stormtroopers.
So they started enlisting troops into the Imperial Army, like I would say within a year of Order 66, and they were fighting alongside, like the enlisted soldiers were fighting alongside the clones, and so basically during the Purge period, like that, those initial like 15 years after Return of the Jedi, I mean not Return of the Jedi, but Revenge of the Sith. There were clone troopers and enlisted soldiers fighting, but you couldn't tell because they were all wearing the stormtrooper armor. But
so they also, so did they ever? Go ahead.
The clones also have that age acceleration, so they're aging like twice as 2 or 3 times as fast as like the regular troops, and so like they're just aging out for the most part because, you know.
No wonder they go down so fast. That's what I'm like, you know, they're, you know, that actually explains a lot, because they're always like, stormtroopers can't shoot, you know what I mean? And then maybe they're just like, you know, old clones that just like, you know, they're aging. They, you know, their aim is not up at the part, or, you know what I mean? And so, you know, they're always, you know, their reflexes are done, you know, not as good anymore. So that's why they kind of just.
Yeah, there's also a way. They also make a reference to the lack of visibility in those helmets, like because Rex. Oh, really? Without getting into any spoilers, like in Rebels, like they go they infiltrate I think a Star Destroyer, and they're dressed as clones, like Captain Rex is dressed as a clone, and I mean not a clone but a stormtrooper, and what's his name, Kanan is also as well, and like Rex is trying to shoot at some stormtroopers, and he's like, I can't even see in this thing, and he just takes the helmet off and throws it at him. And like I was like, I love that, like that stuff. So it's like it's the armor just sucks overall, point blank period. Like
that's why, so that's the kind of explanation on why stormtroopers are like kind of this expendable type force, and they just always just go
bodies.
down.
They're bodies. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna just send like droves of these people at any enemy, and the Navy one is where he put all his money, like the
Star Destroyers,
which is why
the Death Star. I mean, that probably would cost more money. That first Death Star is like, okay, we're gonna make this super weapon. We won't even need stormtroopers. So that's probably what he just like. His thought process was just like, we're gonna spend more on the Death Star, less on the bodies. We're just gonna have bodies to occupy right now while we build this weapon. And then once the weapon's complete, we won't need stormtroopers. We're just, we're gonna just scare people.
That was exactly his mode of thinking. Like he was funneling all of the money and resources into the Star Destroyer or into the Death Star, and making sure that he had enough capital ships to put down any type of resistance that he might get Because really, like, if he can control space in the hyperlanes, like he's not going to have any issues with large standing armies. But the rebellion used like guerrilla tactics and things of that nature. And they used ships. So like the starfighters that the rebellion use all are equipped with shields and hyperdrives, and the TIE fighters, none of them have shields or hyperdrives. And so
that's why they get blown up so easily.
That's why they're also cannon fodder, but like you can also send them in waves. Like they're just fast attack, high damage vehicles. Like that's just how they operated. And if you've played Empire at War, like the way it's so many people know, like I forgot there's a role-playing game, like a board, like a what are those called? Tabletop board games.
Tabletop board games.
Yeah. And there's a huge book that kind of like, shows you how to balance out like all the ships from Star Wars and like all of the like the Star Destroyers, like all of that. And it kind of gives you like insight into how all of this is kind of like how all of that works. But like the Rebels, for instance, like you remember in Rogue One, like when they sent that strike team to take out the base on Edu, where name was, like they only sent X-wings and Y-wings, like that was it, because they can hyperspace, they can travel through hyperspace, they get in, hit hard, fast, and get out, and that's what they were doing. Like that's how they were surviving. Because they knew they couldn't engage the Empire directly in a traditional fleet versus fleet battle. Like they were getting wiped out. Callisto, what's going on? Good to see you. You heard Kanan and Lisa was talking about this in the Den of Nerds Discord. Kanan is her favorite Jedi, I believe, or top 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely top 3. I actually echo that. Like he's in my top 5. Kanan. If you haven't seen Rebels, so like
I need to. I started Rebels. I'm on like season 1, episode like 13. He's the master, right? Correct. He's not the Padawan.
Yeah. He's the older one. He's the cowboy.
He's cool.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I like him.
Yeah. No, the stormtroopers and clone troopers did not receive the same training. Like clone trooper training was like special forces level. Now the dark troopers.
Well, they had Jank. I mean, like, think about it. Like, you see how Boba Fett is. You can't have a bunch of stormtroopers like Boba Fett running around. You know?
Like I mean, they had Mandalorian blood running through their veins.
Exactly.
They were built just genetically.
And you could definitely tell by like just by like what a stormtrooper is. You could just tell they're just not clone, or they're probably older clones that just they lost all their reflexes. They haven't kept up that same training like they did in because they're not at war with anybody. You know what I mean? They just kind of there to keep the peace. So they just like they're aging and they're just like bodies, like you said.
And they're fighting like pirates. They're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like they really push through like that. The core worlds in the mid rim were fine. Like the outer rim was pretty much where like all of the action was, and it was just basically them fighting like pirates and other holdouts like that. And then while they're doing that, like so the highly trained soldiers were pretty much out in the outer rim, and then like all of the cannon fodder was basically in the core and the mid rim, and like that's where the rebellion kind of sort of starts to crop up.
Gotcha.
In these places. And then you kind of get a lot of insight into that in Rebels, which is why I love that series so much, because it starts with that small group, and then over the course of the series, you just watch it grow, which is beautiful. What else? Yeah, but like we're here to speculate and just talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about that Star Wars Mando. Yeah, let's get it back into Mando.
Let's get back into it. So what we've gotten so far and everything that we've seen up to this point, like we got Bo-Katan, she's been revealed. We got Ahsoka Tano. We've got a possible Jedi that may or may not be seen in this season.
I think what might happen, we might get the same kind of teaser that we did with Boba Fett in season 1, where you just see the boot, you hear the sound, and then I think that's what we're gonna probably get with with the season finale, or they might surprise us and throw us next week's episode. But for sure, we might get. We can speculate who Baby Yoda kind of just Grogu saw or contacted, because I mean he was out there, he was listening for a long time, and then it stopped. So he must have reached out to somebody. Somebody must have spoken to him. I
like that they kind of left that on the cliffhanger a little bit.
Because
we have no idea. We don't even know if he ever even contacted anybody. Like it's just we are left in the dark about that. Like he just passes out on the stone. He can't speak. Like we don't know. We have no idea what happened. Like
he doesn't have any. Mm-hmm.
And I said Friday, I was like, I just don't see the good guys winning at the end of the season. Like I don't think we're going to get Grogu back at the end of the.
I think it might be a bloodbath.
You think it's going to be a bloodbath? I don't see it being a bloodbath.
I think it might be like it's gonna be if you think about what like last season, how it ended, there wasn't really any like high stakes. Like nobody really. I mean, you got two characters that really you didn't really connect with all that much. You got the droid, the assassin droid, and I forgot what was the other character, the first dude who helped them out in like the second season where he got gunned down. Where he got gunned down. And I mean, like, those were sad moments, but it didn't break me. You know what I mean? I think this series finale is going to have to break everyone. So I think somebody is going to have to die. They were expendable. The two people who died last season were expendable. Like, I mean, like, I was just like, okay, it's sad that because he was carrying after Baby Yoda back in time, and like, Grogu, and like, and I was just like, but then afterwards, I mean, I just like, it was like sad. All right, get on with the show. I'm ready for. I wanted to see who's the character who's going to die in this. Like, would it be wrong if Mando died? It wouldn't be the Mandalorian anymore, but somebody picks up the mantle. We follow Boba Fett afterwards. It's still the Mandalorian.
They've been greenlit for 2 more seasons. Mando's definitely not going anywhere.
Or like I just you can't kill off Baby Yoda. I mean, you might be able to kill off Baby Yoda. Who knows?
That would be shocking. The only reason I rule that out too is because they say Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in a recent interview said that the heart of the show is Baby Yoda and Din. So that statement alone just takes them out the.
Wow, man! It's just so because it's just like how did you do four episodes? 4 seasons of just them traveling across the galaxy, kind of monster of the week type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. I can't see where the story's gonna go after. And if they kill Moff Gideon at the end of this series, or if he gets away again, then like I can see how they continue the story. And then season 3 is them trying to, if they don't get Grogu back at the end of the season, then I can see where the next 3 to 4 seasons go, because he's on the hunt for Moff Gideon and he's trying to get Grogu back. I can see where like if that's the next like 3rd season or whatever, you know what I mean? He's following a trail of breadcrumbs type of thing.
I think this is the Empire episode, like the Empire Strikes Back.
Season. Where they went. Mm-hmm.
Like this is kind of where this season is headed. Like they're kind of, I think the only character that we haven't heard on the rumor mill about getting another show or continuing into the next season is Carl Weathers' character. Because he's starting to direct more. I think he's going to get more involved in the direction of the upcoming shows. And he was supposed to actually die in season 1. Like,
really?
When Mando shoots him on the ship during that shootout in episode 3.
Yeah.
That was he was supposed to die then. Like he wasn't supposed to come back. That was originally how they wrote him out the script, because Carl Weathers didn't want to be in it long term. Like he wanted to direct more than actually act in the series. So that was him. That was how they were going to write it out. And then he was like, you know what? I kind of liked playing this character. And so
yeah, that's cool.
That's when they reshot it and had him like have the best car in that pocket and brought him back. So that's kind of how that played out. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one that made some sort of noble sacrifice. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. So you think that, man, and I'm trying to think about like why he wanted that kind of Bill Burr's character back. You know what I mean? Like that was such a that was such a random request too. Why do you, I wonder why he thinks that he would reach out.
Imperial sniper, so he would know how to infiltrate the Empire.
Oh, okay. But he has Finnick. She works as an assassin for all of
Yeah, but she doesn't know like the Imperial codes and all that stuff. Like he would know because he was forces, like he'd be able to help them infiltrate into the Empire. Like he knows like how they operate more.
Gotcha. All right, back here.
Kalista, you missed the last two streams. Yeah, well, I did notice your absence in the comments, man. But glad you could join us tonight in this stream. Let me see. Fishy, what's going on? Got his braid. Oh, the you talking about the braids on his armor? Because he does. Yeah, you're right. He has that like. I don't think that was on the armor. It might have got digested in the Sarlacc, because I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah,
I mean he doesn't. He has the cape and the braids. Those I forgot what those are called.
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll take for them to finish season 3? Finish season? What do you mean, like the shooting season 3?
Shooting season. It depends on if they started, because I feel like they might have shot season 2 last year. I feel like they might have been already because
they were shooting season 2 like while season 1 premiered. Like
that's what I thought. Yeah.
They would have done the same for this season or season 3, but like COVID kind of delayed everything. But they should be getting started filming this month. And Boba Fett's spinoff show gets started. Actually, I think it started last week, or it's going to start this week.
Oh, their production for it.
Yeah, the production. Yeah. Principal
nice.
starts.
I'm ready for some Kenobi. I'm ready for. I wonder if we're going to see. Kenobi filming. I wonder if they're going to see. If you're going to see Boba Fett in a few of those episodes. If they're going to be on Tatooine, if it all takes place on Tatooine,
in the Kenobi show.
Yeah, in the Kenobi show. Does Kenobi venture around more, or does he stay on Tatooine? Okay.
We don't even really know how soon after Return of the Jedi this show takes place. I mean, not Return of the Jedi, but Revenge of the Sith that the Kenobi show takes place. But it's I'd imagine it's shortly after, because the original treatment was supposed to be like him him lost in the desert. Well, connecting with Obi-Wan. Not Obi-Wan, but Qui-Gon, because remember at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda tells him that Qui-Gon has learned how to come back as a Force Ghost, and that he's going to teach him how to become a Force Ghost. I think the show is really about how Kenobi goes from the Jedi General to the Jedi Sage and that we see him in episode 4. Like I think it's like an interpersonal journey. That's what I want to see. Like I want to see I want to see it. I need it to be real dramatic and be an interpersonal journey, and him like having to like deal with like the Clone Wars and the reality of the Clone Wars and how they were all deceived and all of the Jedi that he lost, and losing Anakin to the dark side.
And love, then he loses like the love of his life.
Everything, like his entire life pretty much as a Jedi was basically just flipped and turned upside down, like on its head. And like I want to see him like deal with that trauma. Like
and then if you play that with flashbacks and Force, like kind of like how he's.
It's rumored that they're going to be Clone Wars flashbacks, and like Hayden Christensen is rumored to be appearing.
He better be. He might. I hope so. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I mean, why not?
Because the rumors are that like he's going to be in that Clone Wars, like the armor that they wear in the show. Like I'm like I definitely want to see that in live action.
That'd be sick. Live action. Yeah. That'd be sick.
Like to get some Clone Wars sequences in live action, man. Dude, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I don't know about Boba Fett showing up in that. It's possible, but that would be kind of sort of strange given the time period. Like,
Yeah.
But then again, they could just like put some random actor in it and then just have Tamara Morrison voice it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Just never show his helmet, but I don't know. That'd be weird. They'd have to do something.
Or Jabba the Hutt. I mean,
you haven't watched any of the show yet? Like you hadn't even seen the first season? Why? What?
Leave the stream.
All of this.
Yeah, leave the stream.
Don't mind, but I appreciate you for joining us. If you want to stick around, that's up to you. But no, he's not broken. Like he is the Boba Fett that we've seen from the extended universe, bro. His reappearance made everybody happy.
Yeah. And what an appearance that was. As soon as that was one of the main reasons why I was talking about how finicky the armor was for stormtroopers, because I just love this. I love Mandalorian, just the way they treat stormtroopers in this. I don't remember if you remember last week where I was telling you like how I was playing Jedi Knight Outcast and just killing stormtroopers in that game is so satisfying. And like this show just makes it satisfying where, when we saw the armor down, fighting those stormtroopers, and she just knocking the helmets and they're just like shattering, and just the same thing with Boba Fett when he's just hitting those stormtroopers and their helmets are exploding, and it just shows you like how cheaply those suits are made. It's just like that. It's amazing.
I like that the brutality of it, like, and I like how the temperament of his character is in this, because he's very much like he can get busy, as we saw with him doing stormtroopers, but he's also not like just absolutely brutal. Like he wanted to negotiate with Mando. Like he didn't come to kill Mando. It was like he was prepared to do it, but he was like, let's I'm just here for my armor. Like it's really simple. Like just give me my armor back, and we won't kill Baby Yoda.
Yeah, and it was one of those. And I felt like it was just one of those things where it seemed like he's like, my bounty hunter days are over. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm not here to like kill you. That's like that was me as a young man. I was angry. I lost my father during the, you know what I mean? Like, and like now I'm much wiser. You know what I mean? He's seen the light. Like he had a near-death experience, like with the Starlight pit. So that probably just been like, you know.
And I think that I want to say that I'd imagine that him living I think he was living amongst the Tuscans. So like that's where I
makes sense.
With it. Yeah. I think he was living amongst the Tuscan Raiders, and like he has, kind of sort of found his zen in many ways, and has centered himself, and he's got like this new outlook on life. And I think that, harkening back to the Clone Wars animated TV show, like there's a moment where Hondo Ohnaka, my favorite pirate in the Star Wars universe, probably a favorite pirate of all time. I love that character. He tells Boba that like I forget what, I think that they're trying to, I think they kidnap a Jedi or some Jedi. I can't remember what happens, but they're trying to get even with Mace Windu. And like Hondo tells Boba, because he knows Jango, he's like, this is basically not what your father didn't live like this. Like your father was a very honorable man. He would do the honorable thing. And like, I think he's had time to kind of reflect on that and like to, walk the way of the Mandalore a bit. And I think he's going to follow that path. I think the time he's going to spend with the Mandalorian is going to get him interested in going that route. And I would love to see that, like, because that's a huge part of his character from the EU. Like,
do you think he would go back to bounty hunting though? As like, is that what you think the Boba Fett show would be about, or do you think it's more of a prequel of his time on Tatooine?
I think he's going to live like I think he wants to be like his father. Like, I think so. The way it seems to be setting up, the old Mandalorians, right, are like, during the Mandalorian Civil Wars, there were the warrior-like culture of the Mandalorians fighting against the pacifist regime, people who wanted to like walk away from all of that. And the pacifist one, and Satine Kryze took over Mandalore, and like she, changed the entire culture of Mandalore. And the old Mandalorians left Mandalore to live on Concord Dawn, and from there, a group splintered known as Death Watch, and I believe the old Mandalorians and Death Watch didn't see eye to eye either, because Death Watch wanted vengeance on the pacifists for exiling them on Concord Dawn, while the old Mandalorians were just completely content with just, living their life elsewhere and expanding. Like they left and they made all of these like the tribe is a part of the old Mandalorians. Like what the tribe that Mandalorian is a part of is from the old Mandalorian way. Like this is the way, like we're, we keep our helmets on, we never show our faces. Like our armor is who we are. Yeah. And like that's very much what they were about. Like, so they would go off and be mercenaries and bounty hunters, and because they valued the honor of war and of the way of the warrior. So I think he's going to do that, but more so in the vein of the true Mandalorian way, which would be awesome. Which would be awesome.
Yeah, and me personally, I think him seeing the Empire back again might give him like this type of mission. Yeah, you know what I mean, to carry out. And so I can see in the show, I could probably see Ahsoka and them kind of crossing paths at one point, you know what I mean, or Mando and them crossing paths again. I think he's going to make it his personal mission to kind of just snuff out the rest of the Empire. Maybe that's just like
yeah. Well, and I think too, we also have to consider the fact that the Mandalorians were purged by the Empire. Like they've been pretty much wiped out. Like they live in exile. Like like that might mean something to Boba now. Like because the Empire basically almost exterminated his people, even though his people excommunicated him and his father. Well, really his father, because he wasn't even around during that time. But like the fact that there are so few of them left, and like I think all of that has basically been washed away. And depending on like how Bo-Katan views him, and like because she was a former member of Death Watch, and like that would put her kind of sort of at odds with Boba potentially. But if they can like put all that beside them and like take back Mandalore.
Oh yeah,
I want to see that. Like I
would love that.
Give me that Mando series. Like instead of like the New Republic fighting the Imperial Remnant, give me the Mandalorians fighting the Imperial Remnant. Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Let's get back to this. Did I see someone was with Grogu on the Seeing Stone? I didn't hear anything about that. Do you know anything about that?
No, unless it's just kind of that, like if you're like pausing the frames and you get to see like a flash of somebody. I didn't see anything.
Might have been a crew member.
Yeah, it might have been another crew member.
Making a cameo.
It might be. I mean, I didn't see anybody. Me personally, I didn't see anybody. But who knows? I probably missed it because I definitely did miss the crew member until people started pointing it out. I
didn't see that. I'm like, how do people see that stuff?
It's like, when I always tell people like, just because I work in the biz, that like if your audience is paying attention to like what's in the background, you lost them. You know what I mean? I think just people are just like, or they're looking for Easter eggs. Either it's two things. They're bored or they're looking for Easter eggs, because if people are like if they're watching a movie and they're not immersed in a story, you know what I mean? They're going to be looking at all over the screen. You know what I mean? Like versus like I was like, what's going on? I'm like in the story right now. So I didn't even notice it. Like even the Game of Thrones coffee cup scandal thing. I was in the story. I didn't even know. I wasn't analyzing the frame where, oh my God, I saw a star. I would, you know what I mean? I didn't even notice it.
And I think a lot of it, because of the hardcore fan base, like I'm pretty sure that they were just looking for Easter eggs and didn't happen to see the Gene DeLorean appearance.
Gene DeLorean.
And then there was also a helicopter in this episode that was in the background in one of the scenes that someone found. Like, so it's
come on, like just how do we know how do you know it was a helicopter? Come on now. So how do you know they don't have helicopters back on that plane?
I'm gonna go back and look at it too. So it's at the 8-minute and 32-second mark.
Okay, I'm glad to go check that out.
because I had that's first I heard of it, but I don't think there's anybody story wise in it. If there's a shadowy figure there, it's my bet would be that it was just another crew member.
Yeah.
Heem, what's going on? Good to see you. Appreciate you for joining. But yeah, like, all right, yeah, we got all of these elements that we've been teased with in this show. Like we got the Grand Moff, Grand Admiral Thrawn tease. Like that's I think it's more likely that we will see Grand Admiral Thrawn than the tease of a Jedi. Possibly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really not Thrawn's style to if we see Thrawn, it would be like with him having a conversation with Moff Gideon. Like, I don't think Thrawn's going to make himself known to the Mandalorian in the the good guys at this point in time. That's just not how he operates. Like,
and there's no reason for him to be on that path either. He doesn't care.
That would go against his character. Like that would be strategically or a tactically dumb move for him to make, because he he never shows the full might of his force and the extent of his power. He never does that. Like, he's a chess player. Like, let's say if you got a small group of starfighters out patrolling, he's going to engage you with another set of like starfighters. Like, he's not going to show up with ISD and just blow you out like that. He wants to know how sound your tactics are. So if I engage you with this force, how are you going to respond? Because how you respond will dictate what I do next. It's like playing a chess master. Like, they're, whether or not they go first or you go first, they're judging you based on your first move, and your first move is basically going to determine whether or not you win or lose. And that's how Thrawn is. And it's like, that dude is not showing up right off the gate, dropping out of hyperspace with the Chimera. Although I would love to see the Chimera and see that. Because he's got the Chimera animal like on the underside of his Imperial Star Destroyer, and it's like the snaking serpent thing. It's badass. Like, I love it. Like, I would love to see that in live action, but it's just too early. It's too early. Like, let Thrawn be Thrawn. You know what I'm saying?
Now, do you think because the Imperial, like this, we see in all these remnant, like you see, because they're still like, you know what I mean? They're still following orders. Stormtroopers are still following orders. People are still following orders. Do you think it's just because there's like this economy that's still kind of very strong? Because it's been going on for so long, and that's why they're able to keep funding and doing it. Because, they never explain stuff like you would think if the Emperor's gone and the New Republic is taking over, that they would just, everything would just stop, because people are like, why am I loyal to this thing where they're not even in power anymore? You know what I mean? So why give my life for, but yet, I don't know.
There are a lot of people that are very sympathetic and loyal to the Imperial cause, and like there are a lot of people, especially within the deep core and the mid rim, where there was so much stability and peace, and like they weren't really they basically lived a good life for the most part.
During the Imperial
reign, like the rich, like the 1%ers were basically like living their best life. And like, so a lot
like Trump supporters right now, like it's just like still loyal even though he lost,
Yeah. I mean, kind of like with any regime, right? You've always got those people that are diehard supporters that would always ride or die for that group, no matter what they've done. Like, they can't see the error of their ways. Like, just like in Lost Stars, the novel, like it talks about how when the Alderaan was destroyed, right, by the Death Star, and then the rebels respond and destroy the Death Star. Well, there are a bunch of civilians on the Death Star, and there are a bunch of like non-military personnel on the like there were millions on the Death Star that were destroyed. And like that's the propaganda was spun in the Empire, like, yo, these rebels just killed like millions of us. Like, and people were upset and furious like that, because the Rebel Alliance is supposed to be like freedom fighters, yet they just committed like a mass sin of murder. Like,
your daughter was on board the Death Star. Don't you want us to kill them? Like,
so it's like, and I love that book, by the way. Like, it's a great book. It gives you insight from both like the soldier standpoint from on the Imperial side and how they looked at the rebellion and like how they were losing like a lot of their friends that were enlisted in the military, and Saul Guerrero and his partisans, yo, them dudes like by any means necessary, straight up guerrilla fighters. Like they ain't having they were just like, I'll go blow up a civilian complex just cause like there's some Imperials in there. Like, like
I said that. I've been talking about that all the time. That like everybody thinks, oh, the rebels are such great, and I'm always that person, folks the bear. Like I'm like, well, my sister was on the Death Star. She wasn't like a bad person.
But not every cell was like the Luke Skywalker's cell, and not everybody was like Rogue Squadron, and like they did some nefarious things in the rebellion too, because you're a rebellion, like you're going up against an empire, like,
and you saw a little bit of it. Yeah, you saw a little bit of in Rogue One. I mean, like that dude was,
I was like, that's what sold me on the movie. Like watching that in theaters when dude realized like, yo, he's got one leg, he can't escape. I'm like, he's a liability to to me escaping, and he just took it out because he's like, this is probably gonna squeal. He's probably gonna like.
He's gonna tell a whole plan.
That surprised me. I was pleasantly surprised that Disney let that happen, because it makes sense. Like there's not like they can always play by the rules. Like you're going up against an empire. Like you can't play.
You gotta get dirty. Yeah, you gotta get in the mud. Yeah, you can't be that. You can't have that Jedi code stuff anymore. You gotta get dirty with them. Yeah,
you're going to do things that are you're not going to like.
Yeah, in the first season of Rebels, actually one of the episodes, who's it? Oh gosh, he's in the actual movies. He's Governor is his name, or no, Governor somebody, I forgot. They kind of do the CG reimagine in Rogue One.
Oh yeah,
he takes over the Death Star. Tark. Yeah, Tark. Yeah, so he's in the episode of Rebels. And he's like, hold on, wait. Do these rebels kill people or no? And they're like, no, they just knocked them out. He's like, oh, so these rebels have come, and then they were like, wait, there's more cells. Like they kind of like hinted at that. They were like, there's rebels out there who are like killing people, and then the rebels that we follow are kind of like the good kind of guys. They're not really killing anybody. They're just kind of stunning people and doing stuff like that. So that was kind of that makes sense. Like there's factions out there just like blowing up big buildings and things like that, and you know.
I mean, Saul Guerrero's partisans were pretty much the most infamous group of rebel cells. Like, and they were the one the Empire was like, yo, every time they did something, they made sure they put that in the news. Like they wouldn't put in the news like what the Lethal cell was doing. No, that's not going to work. Saul Guerrero just bombed the school.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's like, oh, they're training new stormtroopers here. They're like 5 years old. I don't care. Blow it up.
He's like, oh, Imperial Academy on this planet bombed.
Bombed.
Like, bro, you don't care. Like, and they were eating that up. So they were definitely within the Empire a negative view of the rebellion. Like, So I mean, I love that, and all of that makes sense. All of that makes sense to me. Like,
but do you think that's kind of like an eye for an eye type thing, though? You know what I mean? Like, oh, they blew up Alderaan, so we're gonna blow up the Death Star. I mean, really, that's kind of balancing out. I mean, like you blew up no, not really, because there's like organic life and everything that was on. You know what I mean? They could have easily just dialed it in and just blew up the Capitol or something like that, but they blew up the whole planet. You know what I mean?
They did with on Jeddah.
Exactly.
But no, Tarkin wanted to make a statement.
Yeah,
and a statement he made.
Yeah, and it was a statement that cost him and everybody else.
Cost him everything. Like, So I mean, all of that stuff. Like, I appreciate. Like, that's why I like all of the other, like the books and all the ancillary material. Even from the jump, I was not opposed to Disney making Legends in canon, like because they said that they wanted to create continuity between the stories, like they wanted everything to tie together. So that's why they didn't just flat out discard everything. They're like, all of this stuff could have happened, but they'll eventually bring everything back into the story, and make sure there's a streamline of continuity. And I was like, okay, cool.
What do you think about the sequel series? I keep hearing there's scuttlebutt around where they're just thinking about pushing that into like the Legends section, that it kind of just never kind of happened. It's like in that Legends area, and they're kind of like with the new series, they're kind of just rewriting a little bit of like, you know, kind of the sequel type thing.
They made over $1 billion on each of those films.
Yeah.
They're not retconning those films.
Well, just in terms of just story, I love Force Awakens. I enjoyed it. You know, yeah. I love the cliffhanger. I was excited to see The Last Jedi. I was like, oh man, wow, we're gonna get a lot of questions. But then like it definitely didn't answer any of the questions that I had in mind. The way they portrayed Luke was kind of not like what I wasn't really happy until the end of the movie, where Luke was like being a badass, like how I expected Luke to be, you know, at that time. And then I think episode I think the last one was just all over the place. I was like, what is this? It's just was it Force Awakens or no, The Last Skywalker or whatever? It was just
Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker, it was like it retconned The Last Jedi in some regards.
That's what I'm saying.
The Last Jedi to me was weird because it was 3 movies in one. And like that movie was so damn fast. Like the pacing of it was insane. Like I remember sitting in the theater watching it, and I was just like, I was watching it like this the whole time because I'm like, bro, I can't even breathe. This movie is moving so fast. Like
I saw it again. I saw it again in theaters just so I could and I fell asleep during the part where they go to that casino planet thing, and I was like, I fell asleep. I was like, or is that the third one? No, they go to a casino planet where it's like all the rich people.
That's the Last Jedi. That's the second one.
Yeah. So when they go to the planet and they like all the rich people who make all their money from like how we were talking about.
That whole sequence was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I was just like, why? No, because it was just
they put Finn and Rose on a dummy mission. Like that mission, that thing, it had no merit to the story. Like
it felt so random.
Like that was a waste of time.
It was, because I mean, like the casualties that still they faced, you know what I mean? It was like so many casualties still. It was ridiculous.
There were better ways that they could have executed that. Like you could literally have like, they needed to sneak on board the ship.
Yeah.
All you had to do was like, remember in Empire Strikes Back when Han Solo floated with the garbage?
Yeah. That's all. They
could have literally did that. Like just put them in like an escape pod, let it drift in space. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, like the ship, the Star Destroyer comes over, and then they can engage and then lock on, and then they can infiltrate the ship, get the coordinates, like sabotage it, and then leave. Like, what was
I'm trying to tell you, it just it was just the writing was like I said, it was just all over the place. The last 2 movies for me were all over the place. Like I still haven't rewatched. I still haven't seen Skywalker since the theaters. I saw it one time and I haven't watched it again because I was just like,
since I saw it twice in the theaters, because I saw it the first time and I was like satisfied with what I saw, and then on the rewatch I was like, it's like I have no idea what the hell this was. Like
I think it was a cop out for the Sidious whole thing. I was just like, why bring him back? He can't be the villain every single time. He's not that great. Like, it's just like
my thing too with that. But see, this happens in the EU. Like he does come back in the EU, like basically during the Mandalorian time period. Like I think it was like 8 or 9 years after Return of the Jedi. But he had cloned himself. That was his contingency. He cloned himself, and when he's tossed into the pit on the Death Star, right? Yeah. He transfers his essence into one of his clones. And then he has a shadow empire that is Grand Admiral Thrawn, the Empire of the Hand. Like he has a second empire on standby,
ready for it.
He's the freaking emperor, the dude who orchestrated the entire Clone Wars.
Yeah, he has a plan. Yeah, exactly. He has a plan. Yeah.
And so
But
like
I think
they did that in the EU, and then they just completely they completely ignored that story. Like I thought that they were going to do that with Snoke, but not make him Palpatine. And then you realize like they admitted later that they didn't have a plan for the sequel trilogy, and then they also admitted that it was a mistake that they allowed each of the 3 directors to write their own movie, and they didn't like coordinate. So there was the trilogy of films wasn't predetermined beforehand. They didn't have a through line from The Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
there's no continuity, and it suffered. The sequel trilogy suffered.
It suffered from it big time, and that was the biggest thing.
However, the positive from the sequel trilogy for me are the characters, because I really like the characters.
Yeah, me too.
I like the characters.
I like Poe. I like Finn. I love him.
Yeah. I love Poe. Poe is amazing. Like Poe's been my favorite character. And then like the stuff in The Last Jedi, like what they did with him and Leia was weird. I like how Leia G-checks him in Last Jedi and like humbles him a bit. I love that stuff, but like I was kind of like, let him be Poe. But anyway, what I'm really disappointed with is the decision to make Rey a Skywalker. And not because I don't want her to be a Skywalker. That's not the reason. You missed a key opportunity with her being a Palpatine. Like the person who destroyed the Jedi Order has a descendant that will rebuild the Jedi Order. Like what? That's beautiful. Like own that. Are you kidding me? Like that's how Star Wars works. Like it's the duality, it's the poetry of it. Like
I think that was the thing though. They wanted to have that whole thing. I'm a Skywalker because of like Qui-Gon's big thing, because he's just like, this kid will be, he will bring balance to the Force. And probably what it was is that his name, just because he probably didn't even see him. He just probably heard the name Skywalker.
No, they made her a Skywalker because they killed Skywalkers, and then they realized they needed another Skywalker, and they were like, okay, here, let's make her a Skywalker. Like, no, you just devalued that. Like, you devalued her character by doing that. Like, it's great that she is a Palpatine. Like, I like that she's a Palpatine, but she needs to own the fact that she's a Palpatine and rebuild the Jedi Order as a Palpatine. Like,
it's true. What? And and that's the funny thing that
but they can retcon that though. I hope they do. I hope they retcon it.
And I hope they do bring it. I think this is the prime, like, to make their whole universe, whole Star Wars. I think that's what everybody's ready to see. They're just ready to see the continuation of Star Wars, but just expand it. And I would love to just see a show called Jedi Academy. You know what I mean? Where it's just basically what I played in Jedi Outcast, what I played in Jedi Academy, like the game Jedi Academy, where it's just people being trained as Jedis, people being put through trials, people, being sent on kind of just peacekeeping missions where it's like helping the little people out, you know what I mean, as a Jedi. And it would just be, because, that's the biggest thing. That's what everybody loves The Mandalorian because of, Grogu, is because it's like, which Jedi is going to be it? Which Jedi? And then just give me a show with Jedis, and I won't be this like, neurotic person where I'm like, I want to see a Jedi. Oh, you know what I mean? Where like when Ahsoka comes on, you're all like, oh my God, yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, but if you just have this show where it's just, they're always using a lightsaber. They're always, you know what I mean? Like imagine every episode being like, every episode is them using a lightsaber with, like they're fighting a character like Darth Maul on every episode. That'd be awesome. Like, because there's always going to be the dark side. There's always going to be people who get tempted to go to the dark side. So there's going to always be this, like, and that's a perfect Jedi Academy, story. You know what I mean? Just Rey brings in two people.
And you can't really truly destroy either the Jedi or the Sith, because like they've got all of these artifacts and like their Sith holocrons that ancient Sith lords created, which catalog their knowledge of the dark side of the Force. Like anyone who is Force sensitive and uses the dark side of the Force can like open and access these holocrons if they find one and learn and get the knowledge that they are that are in these holocrons. Like Darth Bane has a holocron. that catalogs the rule of two, right?
Yeah.
So you can go in the future and like think about the circumstances that make a dark sider, like the idea of fear and anger and like the just circumstances that would create that type of individual that would seek power, like someone who's been oppressed, that has lived a very hard life, who's force sensitive, and then in a moment of anger like unleashes like a volley of force lightning at whoever is like pissing them off in the moment, and then like it's like like I would, man, the beauty of Filoni and Jon Favreau being involved so heavily in this. One day, Filoni being handpicked by George Lucas before they started the Clone Wars animated TV show, and he's worked with George Lucas ever since. Like, dude knows everything. George Lucas has said himself that he looks at Filoni as a son. Like he treats him like he's his own son, right? So the dude knows all of this stuff. Like, and he pays homage to the lore and all of that in such a beautiful way. Like he's been doing that since the Clone Wars. He's done it in Rebels, and he's doing it now in the Mandalorian. Like, we just need more of that. And I think that to the point of the retcon, because this was the original point of the conversation, like they don't have to retcon anything. All they have to do is use the Mandalorian as a foundation to expand the universe. Yeah. Like I've said multiple times, like there's a sphere of influence in the galaxy that the Skywalker saga directly affects, but it doesn't affect everything. Yeah. Just make these stories based on the Mandalorian, create a bunch of spin-offs in this 40-year time period between now and The Force Awakens, to create a bunch of stories and create a bunch of characters in other parts of the galaxy that have no association or connection to the Skywalkers, and continue these storylines concurrently to the sequel trilogy and beyond, and then tie everything back together, bring in some of these characters from TV shows that are going to appear on Disney Plus and any movies that you do on them, and bring them into the sequel trilogy characters. Like have Rey and Finn pop up somewhere down the line, and Poe Dameron. If you want to see what Poe and Finn and Rey do with the New Republic and rebuilding the New Republic. We want to see Rey rebuild the Jedi Order. I want to see Rey have to deal with the fact that she is a Palpatine, and like the dark implications of that, and like having to balance out her desire to be good with the fact that she's of this dark legacy, right? Like that's part of being a Jedi. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
That's
dealing with your past.
Having to deal with the reality that you come from a lineage of like a very, very evil person, just like Luke Skywalker having to deal with the fact that his father is Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And I mean, like, you can have Rey get just like really just get, every time she's trying to do something, always second guessing herself, because Palpatine, he could be reaching out as a Force ghost. I mean, he has the power. He could be this type of constant presence in the back of her head, always being talking, trying to like lingering. He's always going to be lingering in the back of her mind. He's tethered forever for her, and that would always, and I would love to see that like throughout like a series where it's just her struggling not to give into the dark side. Like you see it spill out. She'll use Force lightning a few times, and she has to keep it under control, because if she uses it too much, Palpatine, that's an easy way for him to be like, whatever, control or whatever. Is, man, I totally agree. And it's what kind of disappoints me a little bit about the sequel series is that if Luke was training Jedi before the whole Knights of Ren, before Kylo Ren series, if that's the case, he had 40 years of training Jedi. You know what I mean? Where were they at? Like, all of like Kylo Ren just kill all of them? No, there's no way.
Yeah, like, and we know for a fact that there's still survivors of the Purge during this time period. Like there are people, there are Jedi, former Jedi, who have walked away from that life, but they're still alive and they're still around during this time period. Like where are they? What are they doing? Like,
Mhm.
why are they staying out of it? Like, there's so much you can explore within this
Yeah.
to kind of where you don't have to retcon the sequels. Like, you just
Yeah.
create stories around them
Mhm.
that don't tie in directly with those three films, but
Mhm.
they can connect later after
Yeah. Mhm.
Rise of Skywalker. And like
Would
that's
you love
basically.
this? Would you like to see a young Luke Skywalker played by Sebastian Stan? I don't know if you saw that.
Absolutely. I put that in Discord. Like the similarities in their appearance are just uncanny.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
God, he looks just like Mark Hamill.
Yeah. I would love to
It's
see
incredible.
that series. Yeah. What if that was that's what I mean. Like, do you think we would see something like that at the end of the season of Mandalorian, where like maybe like everything's happening off planet, everything like that, but like maybe Luke goes to what's the planet they're on? Tathion, right? What
Titan.
planet are they? The Titan. They're on Titan, and like all you see is him walking up to the stone, and you just see the robot arm. That's all you give me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You just kind of just end it like, and that's it. Like, oh my god, okay, Luke is gonna probably be in the next season sometime down the road. You know, if you just gave me the robot arm, I would be perfectly fine with that. You know, the black arm, like there's just that'd be awesome.
I'm totally okay with Luke showing up. I also too want to see them bring in more of the other characters outside of the Skywalker, like bring in Ezra. Like, I want to see Ezra.
Yeah.
I want to see Ezra. I want to see Cal Kestis from Fallen Order.
Oh yeah.
I want to see. I'd love to see Mason Windu pop up in some capacity.
Yeah. Wasn't there? I mean, I know this is the extended universe and stuff like that, but Luke had kids and a family at one point. You know what I mean? And
we're not going to see that, but he would have had kids. But you know, those characters you can create. Like, you can create those characters and put them in there. They're not, Skywalkers, but those archetypes are important. Ben Solo is loosely based off Ben Skywalker, which is one of Luke's. I think that was his kid.
Because one of them goes to the dark side in the extended universe, right?
Jason Solo is the one who goes to the dark side, and he kills Ben Skywalker. But Jason Solo is who they loosely base Kylo Ren off of. Like, and then Dave actually. Well, never mind. You gotta finish watching Rebels. I won't say he did. Spoilers. Do I think Grogu has dark side training? It's a very real possibility, because we have no idea. Knowing that he was a member of the Jedi Order and that he was in the
we don't know who's been hiding him this whole time. That's the biggest thing.
It says that his memory. Ahsoka says that his past goes dark. Like, he was training in the Jedi Temple. Order 66 happened. Someone took him, went in hiding, and then his memory after that it gets dark. So it's potential for it. But I think the thing is, the Force powers aren't like inherently light or dark. It's about your intention and how you use those abilities. Like, Force push isn't really light or dark, but if someone is shooting at you and you're deflecting laser bolts, and then you use Force push to knock them against the wall and knock them out, that's not a dark natured, right? But if somebody is minding their business and then you Force push them off the side of a building, like, that's your intent was dark there. Like, you had no, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I think
I never get that. Like Force choke. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's video game logic. You know what I'm saying? It's video mechanics. Like, they're like, oh, this is a dark side power. These are light side powers. It's just how they.
Like, why not? Because I'm stabbing a guy with a lightsaber regardless. It's like, you know.
The real life application is just the intent, the why you how you fight. Like what Yoda says. Never mind. That happens in Rebels.
Don't you ruin Rebels for me, all right?
And then there's a quote.
Just say the quote. Let's see it.
He says, it's not about whether or not the Jedi fight, it's how they choose to fight that makes you a Jedi. And that's very important in because this is all it's all based on Eastern philosophy, right? Like it's a very Eastern ideology, the Force and the Jedi and like all of that. Like that's why balance is so integral to the story, and balancing light and dark, and coming to term with your darkness to continue down that path of light. Like it's all that's Eastern philosophy. Like it's Zen. Like what I'm saying. Like so, yeah, it's the intention of it, like of it all. Like how there used to be a light side version of Force Lightning. I forgot the name of it, but it was like yellow, but it would stun you. Like it basically it was basically like a taser.
Oh,
like,
wow.
And it caused paralysis. I think Force Justice is what it's called. And it's like the Plo Koon used to use it in the EU. There were some scenes in old comics where like he would use it to sort of subdue an enemy. And like it was cool. Like it wasn't dark in nature. It didn't kill. Like it would just stun you.
Cool. See, I want stuff like that.
They can do like that's what I'm saying. It's not no force power or force ability is inherently light or dark. It's just a matter of how it's the intent of it. Mine is maybe force stroke. I can't imagine there. But see, to that point, Anakin Skywalker used force stroke a lot during the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
But he didn't have any dark side training to learn that ability. He would just channel his emotion, and then it allowed him to use that ability. Like he would just channel his negative emotions to, use force choke on someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's
and
it.
Luke,
I mean,
Luke force choked a couple of pigs in the third movie, in Return of the Jedi. Mary walks in there and his coach just chokes those two guys.
The Gamoran guards in Jabba's palace force choked in. Like a lot of people just completely ignore that fact. Like dude just shows up Jabba's palace, lies to get inside, and then force chokes the guard and
walks right on in. This is my house.
That end, it's almost like the Moff Gideon and Grogu have had some sort of interaction in the past. It's what he seemed to imply. Because he's like, you're getting pretty good at that. Like it's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Well, also we don't know what happens. Oh no, because he's never had Baby Yoda yet, or Grogu before. Because I was like, what happened between the time that before? But I was like, oh, there was no time for Moff Gideon to actually come and see
But maybe he did. Like I said, like someone had to be paying those Nikto guards from that were protecting the baby Grogu in episode 1. Like that was a he had a pretty good armed guard regiment there in that holdout. They were clearly paid to protect him. Like who was paying him to protect him? Like I think that whoever got him out the temple probably perished at some point, but before they did, maybe he was handed off to another person that they trusted, and then they were I don't know, man.
That's what, and and that what makes sense why Moff Gideon killed the one dude at the end of, because you remember he was just like, where's the child? Oh, he's sleeping right now. Not anymore. And then this everybody got destroyed. Just killed. And that makes sense. Maybe he was going to use that, the guy who got killed was going to use that as a chess piece to kind of negotiate with Moff Gideon, be like, I'm tired of being on this planet. Here, if you want this, get me this, you know what I mean? And he's just like, no, you just made my plans more complicated now, you know what I mean? Type of thing.
Nah, I think Moff Gideon.
Well, because I mean, think about it. If Moff Gideon was paying those people on the planet to protect Baby Yoda, why would he send bounty hunters after,
Okay. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think Moff Gideon was paying. I don't think Moff was paying the Nikto to guard the child. He
the original. Okay.
He would have had the child protection. Yeah, he would have had child with him. Like we wouldn't even have the story at this point. Like I think if Moff had the child in his possession at some point, he lost it, and whoever either smuggled Grogu out of his possession paid those Nikto to keep him guarded and protected. And I don't think that they knew what his precise location was. Like, probably, but to that point, that would make sense as to how they had his chain code, because we do get some explanation of that chain code in this last episode with Boba Fett, because he has his chain code encoded in his armor, and it's basically just a family tree.
So maybe it's the pod got destroyed, so maybe it was chained in that pod.
No, I think the chain code is is basically the Star Wars birth certificate.
Okay.
It's just a digital like thing, and of course, him being at the temple that the Empire has his chain code on file, because it would have been in the Jedi archives. And
that's true.
Palpatine turned the Jedi temple into his palace. So he had all of that information already available to him. So
and that's kind of why Moff Gideon knew so much about Mando. He was just like, he was able to be like, he's like, nobody's ever called me that name before. You know what I mean? He's just like, so I could see,
and Kalisto, you're right. The what's his name? The contractor, the person that was in direct contact with the commissioner. No, what's his name? Whoever, the guy who commissioned Din on the mission, he was an Imperial like loyalist. Like even like all of the stuff that he was wearing, like he was clearly a decorated Imperial. Like those are all Imperial medals that he was wearing. So like he was definitely someone who was loyal to Moff Gideon, but I think he made a critical mistake in not checking the pod for Grogu, because like he didn't open it. Like when they walked in, he just saw it and assumed that he was in there, and then he lies and tells Gideon that he's asleep, but Gideon already knows that the child is on his way back to the ship, and that's because he's incompetent. So he pulled Vader.
Dang. Moff Gideon, man. Just every time he's on the screen, he just steals the show. I just love giving us the black saber look again. You know what I mean? I was just like, might poke your eye out with that. I was just like,
I can't wait for these next 2 episodes, man, because we're gonna get some. I think we're gonna get a real reckoning. In these next 2 episodes.
And it just give me more Moff Gideon. I mean, like that was I'm always excited when he gets on the screen, and I just love I love that character, and I'm just excited to see that more. You know what? I'm just ready to see the Dark Troopers like go head to head with Din. I'm just like, just let's do this. Let's see this thing. Like, let's.
I think.
Oh, and did he leave his jetpack on the planet?
No,
What was the deal with that? Why he didn't go back for that jetpack?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did. I don't think he did it on screen, but like, he has the jetpack. They probably made a mistake and not. Well, no, I mean that's just like, why would they put that in there? That's not even like. Well, we see him again. He'll have the jetpack with him because the key thing is it wasn't on the ship.
That's the key thing.
Now Moff Gideon, or not Moff Gideon, but Giancarlo Esposito is teased that in the filming of season 2, he broke like 3 or 4 Darksaber props. So we're going to see some fighting,
some combat.
Din has,
and it doesn't hold it, and it holds up to. Does the Darksaber? The Darksaber was just created to go up against Jedi. Because they needed a weapon, right? That was created by Mandalorians, correct? No, Darksaber wasn't created by Mandalorian.
Darksaber, it was created by a Mandalorian, but it was created by Tar Vizsla, who was the first Mandalorian to be inducted into the Jedi Order. It's a lightsaber. It's his own lightsaber. And then he actually becomes a Jedi Master, sits on the High Council, and is also this is like during the old Republic. Like, he becomes Mandalore, the leader of Mandalore, while he sits on the High Council of the Jedi Order. This is after.
That's why it's okay. And so that's why this dark saber is so sacred to having, like, they see that as a symbol of like you're our ruler if you have this.
It's Excalibur. That's why when it showed up in season 1 and he had it, I was like, bro, that blew my mind. I was like, oh, we about to get some real deep lore stuff because there's no way. Because me knowing that Dave Filoni is involved and he's the one who introduced this in like Clone Wars and in Rebels. Like, he introduced us to the dark saber. So he built this lore from. So I'm like, there's no way he's not going to give us all of this and like, like I can't because I can't even say there's some other stuff that I could say about it, but you got to continue watching Rebels. I
finished Rebels. I got to finish Rebels. I know. I'm going through it. I'm just gonna watch every episode. I'm not gonna read the like we're skipping episodes. I'm just gonna go ahead and go through it all.
There's not much filler in Rebels. Like I can tell you that right now. Like it's okay. It's only 4 seasons and the arcs are pretty consistent. Like there may be like 1 or 2 episodes that could be technically filler in each season, but that's it. Like they don't waste any time in that season. Like all the arcs in that show are like very relevant.
That's what it seems like. I mean, like every episode I've watched so far, it's just been like, oh, okay, I needed to know this. Like I need to know this. I needed to. Okay,
There's not much filler in that season at all. Like I don't. Like I mean, you can probably count on one hand how many filler episodes are in that entire show.
Yeah. It's not like Naruto or anything where it's like 15 epissodes of filler before you get to anything good.
Definitely never on that level. Kalisto agrees. We don't have enough Moff Gideon. I think everybody
Moff Gideon,
but I think
we need it.
A lot of Moff Gideon in these next 2 episodes. That's almost guaranteed.
Yeah. So let's get back to our Mando. Like, so Baby Yoda gets taken by the Dark Troopers. We see then go ask for the Imperial sniper, kind of spring him. So do you think that's next week's episode where he's just gonna spring him, try to break him out, or do you think it's gonna be kind of like, hey,
I think that's
I've been, or are you gonna do it by the books? Oh, I don't know. Like
I've been debating that how long they're gonna dwell on that getting him out. Like can she call in a favor to the New Republic to get him out on like just for an assignment? Like can they work out a deal where maybe they go, hey, you know what, if you help us with this we can pardon you? Like can they do something like because I don't know if I want to spend another I don't want
another breakout episode. I mean, that was a great episode in season 1, but I mean, do I want it to be?
It was like if you were going to do a jailbreak episode, I needed that like 3 episodes ago.
Exactly. You could have filled that in episode 2 because episode 2 for me is my least favorite episode of this season, and that would have been perfect for episode 2.
Exactly. I don't need that. I think I would prefer them to like she calls in a favor to get him pardoned if he agrees to do this.
Or you start the episode out mid-action. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're in the middle of the jailbreak already. First before it says Mandalorian, before the title card, you're in there. There's like 2-2, get on the ship, and they fly off Mandalorian. You know what I mean? And then that's it. Why'd you break me out? Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? And then you continue that, and then there you go. It's just something they're in the mission. I don't want to see them planning it out. I don't want to see them doing all this. Taking the whole episode. Just jump in. Get us in there because you only got 2 episodes left. Let's, I'm ready to see.
You can't waste time. And they didn't. I think we're gonna echo last season where the last 2 episodes are basically the finale. Like you got part 1 and part 2 of a finale. Yeah. And I don't think they're gonna waste time with it. Like I can't see that. Like they're not just going to get him. Like we're going to see Cobb Vanth again. So we've got to go back to Tatooine. We got to get Cobb. We got to get a man out of prison. We got to find Bo-Katan. I think we're going to see them try to get Ahsoka, but I think Ahsoka is going to be MIA because there's a very important mission that she needs to go on in this point in time that I can't go into detail on because you need to finish watching Rebels.
Man, you know, and it's just gonna take a lot more time because, like I told you, man, Cyberpunk is coming out this week. You know,
look, it's all good. I'm just, it's like, hey, man, like we got this is the beautiful thing about what that payoff of the canon and legend stuff, because everything in canon now is related. Like, all of it is a part of the main story. Like the books, the comic books, the TV shows, video games, all of it. Like if there's a story attached to it, it's canon. Like
perfect,
like
this. So you pretty much just got to be reading and watching every single thing. Like it's just like,
if you want to be in the know, yes, or you just have friends like me that will tell you all this stuff.
Or like that's what, and I mean, and that's the beauty of watching. Watch this show. That's the beauty of it, and I'm glad. And you know, it's so funny because I'm glad we're not on equal terms of Star Wars knowledge. I'm glad you had that, because I can ask those questions, being like, so what's in and what's out, you know, and the people, because they probably have our viewers probably have the same questions, being like, that's a great question, like, you know, so
exactly. And this is not, we didn't this was part of the problem with the sequel trilogy, because we didn't really have this type of I couldn't do this because like they were creating really their own canon with it, and so there were some things that were happening that echoed a lot of what I remember from the E, but it didn't pay off, or it didn't pan out in that regard. Like Finn, for example, like the stormtrooper defects and becomes a rebel. That's Kyle Katarn.
Yeah.
Like,
Kyle. Yeah, that's Kyle. Yeah.
Stormtrooper defects to the Rebel Alliance, learns he's force sensitive, go train Luke Skywalker, becomes a Jedi, then becomes second in command of the Jedi Order. Like,
and that, dude, wouldn't that have been a awesome?
That's what I thought it was going to be, because I was like, this. We've literally seen this story before.
I just don't even know what they were trying to do in that last movie, because she's like, I gotta tell Rey something. He never tells her anything. Bro. What happened? Like, what? Like, what was that all about? He's like, I gotta tell her something. I gotta tell her, and I'm like, okay, is he ever going to tell her what he needs?
Like, what are we? Why are we teasing this? Like, I don't understand. It's just
oh my god, that series just made me so mad. Anyway, let's get back. What we got?
OG Coop. I gotta shout out OG. I gotta shout out Pops, man. I missed him in the comments. Crib in the house, man. Come hanging out with us, man. Appreciate you for stopping in. To Callisto said Rebels gets better with every season, and I definitely concur.
Awesome.
It absolutely gets better. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And it starts out strong to me. I thought season 1 was like phenomenal. Like, comparing it to Clone Wars season 1, Rebels was like, oh yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying I'm enjoying everything about it, the callbacks, everything, just learning more about, like, you know, how they're taking kids into the Imperial Academy and everything like that. And it's just like, you know, I'm loving that whole thing. And like, there's so many, like, it's just like watching that show, like their home base. Like, I just watched the episode with Charisma, Lando. You know what I mean? I just watched it. Yeah, I just watched that episode. I thought that was great. I think they
got they actually got Billy D. Williams to voice that.
That's what it sounded like him. That's what I was wondering. I was like, that sounded just like him. I was like, this is perfect.
So cool, man. He's just so cool.
No, I loved it. That was I thought that was great right there. That was awesome. That whole episode was fun.
So like they got to get like all of these. We got to get our Magnificent Seven together, or however many. Get the posse together, and we're gonna go bail Grogu out of jail. But I don't think they're gonna succeed, because the Dark Troopers are gonna, you know, basically distract the team while Din goes to confront Gideon, and we're gonna get very epic Darksaber, Beskar, spear battle.
Ooh, that's gonna be sick, and I can't wait. I mean, like, I wonder if he's gonna visit the armor again, because they never showed her fate. I wonder if he's gonna melt down that and make it more of a saber rather than a staff.
Maybe, possibly, but
I don't know.
I want to see Boba and then go back to the armorer, and they have the armorer refit and reforge Boba's armor because they can
that
do
would
that.
be, yeah,
Because
that would be sick.
It doesn't really fit. Like I love to see. I love that he was in it, but it's like, yo, we need to, make this a little bit larger. And my man's put on a few pounds. He's looking real healthy. I'm saying, like, healthy weight.
Wouldn't it be a great fitting to just go original like that? The Boba Fett that we know, the bounty hunter, that color scheme is gone. I'm going back to my original father, Django, the Beskar shininess, like, original, all OG.
I need the color, bro. I need the color.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
You never know, because if you got to melt it down, I mean, like,
it would be melted. Yeah, you're right. It would be melted to so that they can smelt it. But I think he needs to go back. Maybe they can go off together and get their armor repainted. He's like, bro, you need some color in this armor, man. Just
do that. I wouldn't be sick. That'd be sick. I would love it. I would love to see it.
Color scheme, man, that would go with for his armor, but I would definitely like to see him get his armor repainted.
Okay. What do we got? We got a question over here. What we got? Down the top.
Trev is in the building. Hey, listen, y'all. If you don't know anything about Trev, this man is a critical Star Wars fan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this, if anybody is going to hold Star Wars accountable for what it does, it's this man right here. This man, I haven't seen him give an episode of 10 yet. And he's got very valid critiques of everything that he like. And because he's in the Dinner Nerds Discord, right? Like, we'll talk all the time. Like, he will articulate his points and why he is like against something so well. And I'm like, okay, I see your point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always appreciate people that are like that. Like, that will definitely, like, they're not shy about saying, or if they know exactly why they like or don't like something, and they can articulate. And it's like, that's all we need in life. We need more people like Trev. But good to see you, man. Glad you could join us. Wasn't I saying that Boba armor wasn't? Yeah.
See?
Yeah. He did say that.
Hey, I told you, man. Great minds think alike.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. They kind of retconned Boba's stuff too, which I'm completely fine with. But not Boba, but Jango Fett's armor was supposed to be like Durasteel, and it wasn't Beskar. But they kind of retconned that in this season, because when Cobb puts the armor on, he says it's Beskar, and he gets shot and flex the blast, and so it's like, I don't have a problem with them retconning that, because I think I'd rather every single Mandalorian be in Beskar. It just makes sense, and
it makes sense why Jango Fett would go head to head, what would dive right into being in a fight with a Jedi. Where he dove right in, and he was just like, I can go against them. But I mean, like, if you hit him at that right spot, there's no Beskar right there. You know what I mean? Where Mace Windu hit him, it's coming clean off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. You still got to be able to move. Like, you can't be. So you gotta be able to turn your head.
Because if a Jedi hits you right where the Beskar is not, that arm coming off, that he gets you in that neck, it's coming off, But that explains why, Joe.
Yeah, Mason knew exactly what to do.
Let's
see. Trav has something to yeah, he does. But hey, listen, I tell you, he will write an entire like 2 or 3 paragraphs and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'll read it too, because I'm like, yeah, man, I'm there, because I definitely that's what I'm about. Like, what I don't like are people who are like, I don't like something, and then
no explanation.
They don't elaborate. It's like, so are you just like not liking it to not like it? Like, anytime I critique the sequels, I can give you points on exactly why I dislike the prequels. And it's like, you don't have to like something all the time, and because someone doesn't like something doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad or that you're wrong for liking it. You can totally like anything that you want to like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's handle that real quick.
Yeah.
All right.
What?
All right. Gotta love it. You don't think no, Duracell does actually still exist. But it's used in like on ships and stuff in armor of that nature. Like I'm pretty sure that they talk about Duracell in the Thrawn novel. Yo, what in the hell is this?
Whoa, wow. Akbar. Oh, they're like, what's going on here?
This is wild. All right, we're gonna need admins now. This
I know, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
These people out the chat. This is insane. I'm gonna have to. We probably gonna have to call the stream. This is crazy. Yeah, because I'm not about to sit here and do this all day.
Yeah, right. We're trying to. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, Callisto, where is your question? Actually, can you copy that about Gideon? What's the second?
Gideon.
I found it.
Okay.
I got one more thought. Gideon's second. I guess she's in second. Oh yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about. That his first officer. There's something off about her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They do kind of linger on her. She's not just like some like random person, like, you know, where he's just giving simple orders. She's like there on every episode, you know what I mean? Type of thing. Anytime she's around, like his personal secretary or something. I don't know what she's in, but she's always in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you think she might be so now what would be interesting?
A New Republic plant?
No. I think she could possibly be a Thrawn spy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
In there to keep tabs on Gideon for Thrawn. Like she might be just loyal to, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be interesting. I would like to see that way. Like not her be like a New Republic associate, but like her to have some alternative allegiances within the Imperial Remnant. That would be fire.
Gotcha. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the spam is under control, but we gotta wrap this up. We actually a little over 15 minutes.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
What was that, Trev? What did you say? I feel in. Yeah. Okay. So we said we basically talked about the we're going to get the Magnificent Seven together, and we're going to have Cobb Vanth is going to come back. Bo-Katan is going to come back. We getting Mayfield out of prison.
Yeah.
And who else? They'll probably try to get Ahsoka, but I think she's going to be off on a mission.
Would it be wrong if all three of the people that he locked up in that prison break episode all showed up and kind of, you know,
possibly. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that.
I know she would be one of them would be mad because he did kill her brother.
Star Wars Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Star Wars Suicide Squad. Yeah.
That might be. I would completely love that if someone did that, like in the New Republic. Like, we got all these like ex-Imperial people who have like life sentences. We can send them on dummy missions to like kind of sort of.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, they were ex-Imperials. Who cares? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, like I said, that's like a great spin-off series. I mean, like, why not? If you have all these people like Finnick and all those people who are these super trained assassins and everything like that, who did all the dirty work of the Imperial, why not use them against the like remnant of like, you know?
That, you know, they would be exactly the type of people that Boba Fett would love to run with. So like if they popped up in the Boba Fett show, like because Finnick is already a part of his crew, Mayfield, the big Deveronian dude. Oh my god, like you let them all run with Boba and oh my, I would love that. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, like it would just be a great, like that's true. Like that could be the Boba Fett show. Is the like you said, Suicide Squad, where he's like made it his mission to destroy the remnant of the Empire. He's like, I don't want this around. Let's do it. Let's get this thing. Like let's get it. Let's snuff it out. Let us get it out. You know. So
yeah. So we got Mando. Where's my camera? There we go. Mando. Kara, Boba, Bill, Burr. Well, his what's it? Mayfield.
Mayfield.
That's what 4, and then Finnick, of
Finnick,
course.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then
Carl Weathers' character, maybe.
Carl Weathers, Carl Weathers' character is number 6,
okay.
and then
Cobb. You didn't say Cobb. Cobb. Yeah.
So
we got
that's
7.
That's your 7 right there. That's your magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can totally see them doing that. And then we lose if anybody has to die. Like I
Mayfield.
think Mayfield goes. I think Carl Weathers' character, because he wants to direct more, I think he goes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think those could be because those would be significant deaths.
Give me more Boba. You know, I would just love another Boba Fett. Just go all out. Like you said, if he can get his armor refitted and everything, and he just looks badass in the next couple of episodes, where it's not just he's actually, he puts back on armor. Like if he gets out of that black robe crap and just puts on more of a classic looking Boba Fett out, I would love it. And just to see him go. Yeah.
Boba Fett. So I think I'm pretty sure that's what Josh has been saying, is that the Boba Fett show is going to be a prequel to the Mandalorian series, which I would be okay with. I would totally want to know how he escaped from the Sarlacc pit, and then what
I would love to know why his maybe that was what it was. Maybe he did have time, like you said, he's more honorable now. Maybe he did give his armor as payment to maybe the Jawas helped him survive. You know what I mean? Kind of like what Cobb did. You know what I mean? He was possibly. That's why the Jawas had his armor, or I don't know. That's what I mean. I would love to know why the Jawas had his armor. That's all.
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know why he parted with the armor for sure. They gotta explain that in season 1. Why you parted with your armor and why Cobb had it. Maybe he lost it. Maybe he was tracking Cobb and he had just basically found, where Cobb was, and he's been, because it seemed like the Jawas, for one, they're everywhere. No matter, it doesn't matter what planet you're on, they're going to be Jawas.
It's always they're always. It's I don't know. Isn't that just a weird thing? It's just they're just always, they're like a rodent or something like that. Any planet that's just kind of you can scavenge on, they just there. Yeah, it's just
I would love to see him, try to follow in the footsteps of his father and be more of the honorable Mandalorian, old Mandalorian style, because I think he would complement Din in that regard. He might have always been honorable. Oh yeah. So his young Boba in the Clone Wars was kind of he was a little brat.
Was it?
Yeah, he was a little brat. And he was, he was trying to get. There was an arc where he was seeking out vengeance against Mace Windu. He had a plot. He almost assassinated Mace Windu. And he was this close to taking out Mace, yo. It was.
It's scary, huh?
Dude. So I mean, in the time of the Empire, he could probably have, he could have. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I would like to see him be more of the old. Go back to his father's roots on Mandalorian. Try to be more of that old guard Mandalorian, but still be a mercenary and bounty hunter. Kind of like Din was prior to the season start to season 1. He's he's a mercenary bounty hunter making his way. As what did Boba say? Just a simple man making my way
through the galaxy.
Love that quote. That's harkening back to Django. But anyway, I think we're gonna call it here.
Okay.
We definitely had almost a 2-hour episode. This is great. We normally stop at the hour 30 mark.
But hey, man, people love it though.
Exactly, man. We had great conversation, great dialogue. I love interacting with you, my man.
Yeah.
Definitely going to continue this. Keep doing these every Sunday.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I think JBM will definitely be back for next Friday, probably.
Okay.
Cool. For the Mandalorian review. Love to have you on there.
Oh man, I would. I know I'm doing something out of COVID though. I'm going my one of my buddies. He's getting married on Friday, so I'm part of the wedding, so I got to go do that. But I'm definitely gonna watch Mandalorian that morning beforehand.
yeah, stay safe, man.
Yeah, I will.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
Exciting. It sucks that it's in this COVID environment, but
Yeah, no.
hey, you know, that's life, I guess. But
yeah.
good luck to him. Good luck to you. Hope you stay safe.
Yeah, I will. But for sure, Sunday though, we can recap and kind of do the same thing what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. You know, for those of you who don't know, this is definitely the freeform show that we do. I kind of randomly decide what I want to talk about on Sunday, basically, and I'll put that out. But yeah, this is kind of what it's geared up to be. It's just a casual Star Wars conversation talk that can continue after the Mandalorian is done, the season at least, and definitely looking forward to the recap on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be recapping, me and JBM, on this channel. So subscribe if you haven't already, and please make sure you leave a like. And we hope to see you on next Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also we do another show on Saturdays called The Cookout. Definitely tune in for that. That's a fun show. We get the four founding founders of Gumbo, doing, just having nerdy conversations in the entertainment sphere, man. It's a blast. If you haven't watched any of our channels, go check out some of our live streams, man. It's I guarantee you it's a good time. And next weekend, because we will be live 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Saturday. So
I would love to be on next Saturday because I want to talk cyberpunk.
Okay. Yeah, man. We'll have to come up with. I'll talk to Imani, because I think we do need to talk video games, and I think we need to have. I'm considering doing something in the video game sphere as far as
let me know, because that's video games is my jam too. So if we're trying to do like a weekly video game kind of review type thing where we
would love to do that. I love to talk video games. Do a show related to that, so that would be dope. But let's talk about it off.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, man. And appreciate everybody for joining us once again. And like I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you always.
See you guys.